All right, so today we're going to do a podcast of Fallout settlements. What will we do if we had our own? The categories are military, location, appearance, logo, politics, and how advanced would we be. I'm here with my good friend Gabino. So, Gabino, if you had a choice to choose anywhere in the Fallout universe, or in this case, the United States, to start a settlement or a chain of settlements, where do you think would be a good place and the reason why you would choose it?
I don't know. I don't know much about Fallout's lore, about locations. Like, where does 76 takes place in? For
Uh,
instance, West Virginia, right?
West Virginia, Appalachia.
Fallout 4 that takes place in another part of the
That
world too, I believe.
that takes place in
And,
Boston. 'Cause
and isn't 76 or not 76? New Vegas, like in California or Vegas?
yeah, it takes place in Vegas because they talk about both California and Colorado.
What does it call it? See, it really depends on your environment, what areas you're in, I guess. First off, that would depend on your faction.
Okay.
Um, that's what I would think. Uh, First, well, like, what's the state of Colorado like in the Fallout world?
Well, according to the Fallout lore, it's um, it was one of the main targets of with a nuke because of the military. Oh, I'm sorry about that. I forgot to put that on mute. Adam is going to be on here soon. Anyways, Colorado is pretty much taken over by dogs. That's basically what they say. It's pretty much a wasteland of tribes
So
that,
pretty much nothing but wildlife is in Colorado.
yeah, yeah. Uh, According to the Fallout lore and Fallout New Vegas, they explain about mostly wild dogs roam Denver. That's where the Legion
Mm-hmm.
gets their dogs. But also, there's a variety of different tribes. Granted, those tribes got, uh, fused into the Legion after the Legion conquered them, or the Legion has pretty much annihilated them. Keep in mind, the Legion is I guess, the opposite of the New California Regiment, the NCR. You know, the ones that kind of look like Romans. But if I had to guess, um, Colorado would be more like a slave area because the allegiance is a slave culture. Well, they slaved other cultures.
Hmm. So Colorado would definitely not be a place I would want to live in anymore in the Fallout universe.
Yeah.
I'm thinking the best place probably if you were to try to start a faction would be in West Virginia, maybe, because it seems like it'd be a much safer environment.
And for some reason, it's the most lively out of all the Fallout games. There's hardly any radiated areas except for the one area with the weird theme park is at. I forget what it's called. It's the one with the giant crocodile roller coaster.
Hmm. So what location would you pick then in the Fallout universe?
Uh, let's see. It's between the. Personally, I would try to take over the ruins of Boston.
Hmm. Why Boston?
Well, for one, it's close by the sea. Therefore, I can reestablish trade there. Because the sea is not like acid reducing or something like that. Yeah, it has radiation, but if you got the right stuff on your boats and you have like red eggs, sorry, and right away,
Hmm.
it's possible. Not to mention that the outer parts of South Boston would be good for, say, farming the settlements around the area, since there's already have settlements already growing farms and stuff. Basically, if I find a way to convince them to join my faction or at least trade with me, it'd be a good place.
I see. It seems like a lot of very understandable ideas then.
Well, there's actually more ideas. For once, there is way to purify the water from both sea and radiation underneath the city. They got like a purification system at some of the water plants nearby. If I can figure out how to get that up and running, that give me a clean source of water, or at least somewhat clean, for fall
Hmm.
extenders. My main concern for there is either how to get the raiders and the super mutants out, and how do I get a set source of food, because there's not very many places to grow food. So I need to figure a way to get the Eller settlements to help me with trade and food and all that.
Hmm.
So, out of curiosity, why do you choose West Virginia other than its less radiated area?
Well, the first thing would be less radiated, because what comes to my mind when I think less radiated would be less wildlife that would be a danger, and then less chances and more chances to live off the land that's not tainted. So you'd be able to live off more of the land. You'd probably be able to find more livestock. Plus, with West Virginia basically being like a foresty kind of area, um, more wildlife. So you'll be able to find a lot more um, to live off the land. Basically, just my whole thinking of, and with less, and hopefully with less radiation, not as much danger,
So,
like not a big variety of.
so I had the thought of I guess your civilization, your settlements would be more like scavengers and stuff like that, living off the land and
Yes,
all that.
that would be an idea. Yes.
All right. So if that's the case, other than scavenging for food and stuff for that, we also scavenge for, say, machinery parts and technology to improve
Well, there's
your.
also steel mills and stuff there too. So
True, true.
in West Virginia, so a lot of manufacturing. You can be with opportunities. That would be another idea. And excuse me. Um, Again, with less radiation, there more less danger. So it seems to me it would seem more ideal.
True. But what will you do about the scorched beasts?
The scorched beats aren't really that hard to figure out. They're kind of like in the same areas, I would imagine, more like in the heavy foresty areas, not into a bigger. Um, what's the word? Civilization, I guess. Atoms.
Civilization settlement.
Oh, hey,
Yeah.
Adam.
Hello.
We're talking about location.
Oh no. Oh no. I was here actually. I started listening in what Guido was saying when he talked about being in the forest.
I was wondering why he was being quiet.
Yeah.
I heard him join.
So, so you mostly focus on the mines and stuff, collecting ore for trade and possibly food. That's not a bad choice, but we we be like a nomadic type civilization, moving to place, or we have like a base operations.
Base operations and being able to find more people to make like a safe zone, basically.
Okay.
That would be my ideas.
It's not a bad idea to be honest.
Tell you the truth, Gabino, you, your some your faction might benefit from the city of Grafton because there's very little trouble there. Only maybe a handful of super mutants and one Grafton beast that pops up once in a while. So, plus there's lots of scrapping there, and plus it's close to, if I remember correctly, it's close to a couple of mines. Might be wrong about that, but yeah. How about you, Adam? If you had a choice to choose any location in the Fallout universe, or in this case, in the United States, what place would you choose?
Well, I talked about this part with you before. That personally, what I would probably choose for a good spot that would be very good. It has its downsides, but it has some pretty good upsides as well. Is like a type of mining type of place, like with the big I forget what the thing's called, one of those big rigs with the spinning wheel thing.
The,
That way, my faction we'd be able to get a lot of resources and materials that we can use for a lot of different things.
you talk about that mining machine thing.
Yeah, kind of like something similar to the mining machine and Fallout 76 that we saw before. I mean, I could go with that one easily, but the
I,
only issue is water would be the only issue,
I think we nicknamed it the Digger.
probably. Yeah, I think that actually would be a very good place. That way, you can find a lot of different resources, a lot of different metals and whatnot.
So,
Used for a lot of different things.
sounds like you and Gabino will be a competition or has some form
Or
of
we work together.
partnership, trading and all that.
I actually had that same. I actually thought about that with Cabino is that we work together to find different resources, salvage stuff, and we basically benefit from one another.
Hmm. For me myself, as I was telling Gabino, I choose South Boston because it's next to the ocean.
Hmm.
Therefore, it has some easy trade if I can manage to get some boats scraped up. My only concern is the raider infestation with the super mutants, and also trying to find food. Granted,
Yeah.
I think mine might be a little bit of a scavenge settlement also, because that's the
Well,
only
I
way I
mean,
can think I can trade for food from the outer settlements.
would make sense.
And there are a number of uh, I forgot what they're called, the factories that can produce water by filtering it.
Oh yeah, I know what you're
Water
talking about.
treatments.
Water treatments.
There you
Thank
go.
you. Basically, if I can get those under my control, I can eventually get clean water. Kind of like Hoover Dam in Fallout New Vegas with the power, but also clean water.
Yeah, and you can always try to get clean out water out to other settlements as well, which will be very good. In fact, with my faction, I might actually come to you a lot for water. You know, trade
They're in
you with something
West
for a good
Virginia.
amount of supply of water.
West Virginia is kind of a far distance from South Boston, so if you're willing to do
Yeah,
that
true.
form
Well,
of
it doesn't have to be in West Virginia. It's just basically a good mining settlement in general. So that way, my faction would be able to get a lot of ores and resources and whatnot. It can
granted,
be just about anywhere, really.
yeah, you're like your thing moves, so you have a moving settlement to pretty much anywhere.
Yeah, so I can always come near you if you and whatnot, especially if the place I'm digging at kind of goes dry a little bit, or I dig it too much. Because you don't want to dig too much into the earth. Kind of like mess it up or something.
So you're more the Humanic type tribe. Humanic means you move to place. You don't stay in one place at a given time.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. But there's plenty of air stuff. Our tribe, my tribe would or faction would actually do other than just moving around and getting resources. So
All right. So, you're in West Virginia. We haven't really decided what type of settlement you want to take over, or do you plan to make your own settlement? About taking over.
What do you mean? Like, what do you
So,
mean by that?
kind of like something a little bit similar to mine. And for instance, like I didn't go into a settlement or anything. I kind of end up making my own since that mining thing was originally banned to begin with, unless you other some mole men sometimes or robots depending.
So basically, instead of taking over Pacific ruins, you like make your own settlement, say out of train carts or something like that.
Yeah, or some some kind of machinery or something, kind of like with my big drill
Or
thing.
do you prefer to take over a ruin of some sort?
Yeah, like maybe a city, kind of like Diamond City from Fallout 4 in a way. What they did, so.
You can hear the gears clicking in his head.
Yeah, I know. You can
Yes, that is. I'm really not sure actually.
You got to think about this stuff, man. You guys are nomads.
Well, I know. Oh yeah, I guess. No, nomads are
They're,
people
they're
that
like
usually.
nomads. Because didn't you say something about that earlier? They're like nomads that they move around a lot, scavenging stuff. You know.
Um, well, not necessarily. Scavengers can also scavenge in one specific area. In this
True.
case, when it comes to Gabino, it might be just Appalachia.
Yeah, true.
For me, I am more. I'm going to more like a kind of like the Commonwealth. I forgot what it's called. It's when multiple places come around to make a more democratic type situation.
Yeah.
My memory really sucks. Anyways,
You're fine. Summer sucks too, anyways, so.
basically, I want to unite the
Democracy. That's what I was trying to think of.
democracy. There we go,
Ah,
democracy.
okay. That's not a bad idea, to be honest. In a way, my settlement,
Like a
my
form of government.
in a way, my faction's a little similar, a little bit.
All right, so
My faction would just be normally just a nomad, or not nomad, but just a living off the land kind of area. Plus with plus with that added in and being in the area where I'm at, steel and having like steel mills and factories, being able to manufacture more and maybe even vehicles would make things a lot easier.
Definitely.
hmm. Well, then you're gonna have to find a lot of resources to get vehicles up and running. It's possible because in one of the Fallout games, I don't remember which one, they managed to get a car up and running. I think it's the
It's
second
not.
one.
It wouldn't be impossible to get a car up and running. You just have main thing you would have to mostly focus on for a car is making some type of new wheel for it, and some type of like electric source in a way, and also gas. But
Well,
mainly the gas shouldn't be too hard. It's mainly the battery and the tires because after so long, especially with all the radiation, the battery will completely go dead where you can't use it anymore, and the tires could dry rot.
Fallout cars don't take gas; they're fusion powered.
Right, forgot about that. But still, yeah, I didn't really say gas. I think I said fuel, didn't I?
You said gas.
Okay. Well, I meant some type of. Okay, well, so I kind of meant some type of fuel. I'm not sure if what kind of how you get fuel to be honest, but some type of fuel. If the fusion power getting radiation type of thing, there's radiation all around. If you can learn how to harness that and turn into fuel for a car, it's not that big of a deal. But still, it can be
All
kind
right.
of dangerous. Hard.
Well, here's another question for resources or location. Where we get your power source from? Will you be like trying to find, say, solar panels or wind turbines, or will you try to take over, say, an electrical plant or something while trying to
Um,
maintain it? This is a question for both of you.
Personally, for mine, since my thing kind of moves around, I can't really go with like an electrical plant because unless I figure out how to make the electrical plant move as well. Personally, for mine, what I would do is I would try to get a good energy like a source built inside of it that'd be strong enough to run the whole thing. I can't say specifically on what it would be because I'm not smart enough to know anything about that. But what my people would what my settlement would try to go for mostly is something kind of like a bioreactor in a way, you know. It's because since we'll be doing a whole lot of digging, anything we use can just filter through and go into the bioreactor for energy. And it's still good and healthy for the environment as well, so we're not fucking any more than people already have. So
All right. How about you, Gabino? What type of energy source will you try to use?
Um,
well, actually,
personally, I would say solar would be a good use. I would have again having access to factories make the creating the materials a lot easier. Or maybe even starting hydro, or maybe even doing starting a hydro dam or something.
hydro dam would actually be a lot more reliable than solar, because if you do solar, you would also have to try to store up power, because they won't work so well during the night.
You could also use a combination of the two. That way,
That's true. That's
secure.
true.
Definitely. And if you want to actually get a lot of power, you can use all three of the most natural ways other than using a bioreactor. You can use solar, hydro dam, and wind turbines.
For me
And that gives you a
personally,
lot of power.
there's no big enough river to do a dam, and dams don't really work very well with oceans. So
Yeah.
I'm going to have to either try to do solar or wind. But even then, that's kind of hard.
Well, you could
So
kind of do both of them, and you can also try doing a bioreactor, kind of like what I'm doing if you want. It could give you enough power if you can get enough biomass into the reactor for it to process through.
I might have to figure a way to restart up a plant of some sort. Because even if I do find a way to find solar or wind, it won't be enough to charge the entire of the ruins of Boston. Because I plan to do the entire ruins, not just a
Okay.
small part of it.
Yeah, then your best choice probably would be getting a reactor back up and running. Yeah, it won't be easier right away, and you'll probably have a lot of fixing to do with one of those things.
It's definitely a challenge.
But who doesn't love a challenge?
People trying to survive.
True.
So basically, yeah. Uh, since you're pretty much doing scavenging, Gabino, you probably won't be doing farming, or do you plan to do farming along with
That's a
scavenging?
that is a part of scavenging.
Oh, that's
That's
true.
you have
That's true.
you'd be living off the land basically.
Yeah.
So basically, you would
Living
have
off the
farms.
land.
I thought that was foraging.
No.
No,
Farming isn't a foraging type of thing, really.
Huh. All right then. Well, that still works. I'm just curious. How about you,
It's
Adam? Since you're gonna be moving around, you can't really have
I
farms.
can't really do much of a farm to be honest. If I mean, I probably could, but it won't be a big one, especially not one to satisfy my entire faction very well. So I would more trade a lot of the resources I have and maybe some of the technology I have to like maybe Gabino, for instance, since his people do farming, would be doing a lot of farming, and maybe you, if you do farming as well, in a way, you know,
Yeah.
do some trading, get some food and supply and water and stuff like that.
So, by estimate, how many people do you think you're gonna have in your faction?
In mine,
Both of yours.
I can't say how many people I would have in my faction. I would think I would have a lot of people, because part of my faction would also be helping other people in their factions and like
wouldn't
setting
the
up settlements.
number
You
of
know,
volts play a big factor into that?
yeah.
That's a good question.
Because there's not a whole cluster of volts everywhere.
Well,
Some places only have like three in like an entire area, and others where West Virginia there's like six
yeah,
in one small portion part.
in West Virginia, the only ones that actually have people that survive in the vaults is the one that our players come out of, which is Vault
Pretty much.
76. All the other vaults have
And then
been
there are other ones that are
Yeah.
abandoned too, though.
Yeah, abandoned.
There's another vault in 76. No, wait, not 76. I was thinking it's Fallout 4, actually. Fallout 4, there's a couple vaults, actually. You can go into that still have people in it, other than the one you came out of.
Yeah.
Well, you're the only one out of it, but you know what I
Granted,
mean.
if you also go by the newest update for Fallout 76, a bunch of settlers, including raiders, have come back after you make the cure for the scorch.
Yes, that's true.
I'm just asking Adam because since you can only have a certain amount of people on your things, it's not. I'm not saying you can't have a lot. It's just might be hard to find living quarters in such a
Well, that's the
machine.
thing. My you gotta remember that my faction would be, it's in a way a little similar to the Brotherhood of Steel, but they're a nicer version of them. Basically, I would be having
Basically,
people.
not a dictatorship.
Yeah.
Yes, I would have people all over the place in settlements, like maybe Gabino's and in yours to help you guys with the stuff and building stuff you need to. Also help with like securities because my people would be trying to bring peace back to the land. You know?
Oh, so basically the drill will be like your
Yeah,
operations center, and do you have like
yeah. It would
outposts
be
or
like
something?
main. It would be my main hub. Also, it help my people get the resources that they need to help fix stuff up, and also help make new technology and stuff like that.
Hmm.
That's the reason why I would go with the whole mining thing, so that way we can get all the resources we need to get everything fixed, and everything going again. You know?
Okay. Okay, Gabriel, how about you? By estimate, how many people you think you might need to make this civilization work?
Um, that's a good question, really. Uh, Not much. You just need a few people, really, just like 4 or 5 people, because it's you can start out small, then expand as things progress. Really.
All right. Um, that makes sense. Besides, if you have too big a group, it might attract unwanted attention.
True.
All right.
Well,
For me, I kind of need a big group of people to make this work. So my faction
sure.
might be a little bit like the California Republic, or sorry, New California Republic.
Really? Kind of thought you were going with like old fashioned Minutemen, to be honest. Like before they disbanded.
Well, it's mostly
that sounds good.
it's most like a mixture. I'll have the ideals of the Minutemen, but with the structure of the New California Republic for
Okay.
size of military or way I will run things. But that's getting into politics, which we'll
Talk
talk
about later.
into later.
Okay.
So we explain how we get power, how we get water, how we will do trade, and how we get food. Last question for location: how will you protect your settlements? Like, will it be a strategic location or locations?
Well, mine would be easier to protect because it's not always going to be in just one place at all the times. Since I'm able to move my place around, if there's a big threat that I don't think my faction in the main base would be able to handle very well, we can always move somewhere else where they don't know where we're at. So that would actually moving around actually would be a big hand for us. But of course, we'll still have like a bunch of some turrets and stuff like that on there. And what do you call them? They, uh, what were the helicopter things called again? Something bird?
Vertebrates.
Vertebrates.
The vertebrates.
I knew it started with a V. So
So where are you gonna put those? I think you
the
go
vertebrates.
maybe have two, judging by the size of the.
That thing is huge. There's actually a good few actually places we could stick the vertebrates, like on the back, on that like the back weight, for instance. It's a pretty large area there. We can put a good few vertebrates on there.
Kind of sounds like you're thinking of adding on to the drill.
Not much, just mostly like some defense type of stuff. And of course, I was thinking about adding a power source into the drill as well, so that way it could function without all our fixing up. Because I think actually I
That'd be
already
a
had the
lot
whole.
of maintenance work, though.
Yes, but that's why I would need a big. But that's why my faction would be big.
Hmm. I mean, technically, it has a power source somewhere because it's
Yeah,
able to run on its own.
Yeah, I just remembered that to be honest. But I think we would need to upgrade the power source, of course, though, too, to run a few extra things.
Yeah, because it doesn't last for very long. Only enough to get whatever stuff you dig up. That makes
Okay.
sense. All right, Gabino, how about you? How what? How will you protect your area, basically?
Uh, well, since it might be a small area, a small thing, it would have to be pretty much like a night watchman's thing. Going, I would have to do.
So basically, keep out for trouble and send an alarm if it happens.
Maybe put up borders even.
And I also maybe suggest
That would be my only idea.
having like a hidden type area,
Got like a hidden bunker or something?
something like that.
Yeah, that wouldn't be a bad idea. Especially if it's a bunker. That way, if your place does get like bombed ever, everybody can run underneath in the bunker. It'll be fine.
Now, I'm not really counting the nuclear bombs that go off in the game because that's from
That's
mostly
all.
players being
Yeah, I'm not counting that
players.
to be honest either.
I feel like in a real society, in a real world, that wouldn't actually be something that the Brotherhood of Steel or someone would get.
And the real
True.
world, to be honest, I kind of feel like that actually wouldn't be a thing you would have to worry about too much about, is because you would have. I would feel like with the entire world being basically nuked, all the nuclear bomb missiles would actually already been used, and the silos would
Mm,
Not all of
mainly.
them.
You
not
may
all
you
of
may be
them.
able to.
There are also reserves.
I know. I would say like you would be able to find a few things, but with all the damage that has been done to the Earth, also how long it's been, to be honest, till people were able to go on back onto the surface and whatnot. I kind of feel like a lot of that machinery wouldn't be working right away. You would have to fix a lot of that up before
Well,
you can even launch something.
it is possible.
And
There are factions like the Enclave and the Brotherhood of Steel, and
Children of
even
the Atom.
yeah, that's
yeah.
possible, but you would have to be really fucking stupid
And the
to
Children
use
of the
one of
Atom
those.
are like monks too. That makes it even worse. That
Oh
they
yeah, True of the Atom. Yeah, the ones that
Oh,
worship.
well, yeah, they're stupid enough to do something like that, but you would have to be
but they
personally. You
also
would have to
have
be.
are advanced in technology and only live off the land.
Yeah, they're basically a radiation
They're
worshiper
advanced.
nomads.
Yeah, they're as advanced as Brotherhood of Steel.
Yeah,
Maybe smarter.
actually, I also feel like they wouldn't actually ever use the missiles for anything. I feel like they would just sit there and more worship it.
Only the statistic of their members might use the missiles to spread Adam's holy light or heat,
Yeah.
whatever.
If anything, that I feel like they're the only faction that would be stupid enough to use the nuke again. I feel like not anybody else would be stupid enough for that. Hopefully, even the Brotherhood still is because the Earth is already hurting from all the radiation and bombs that we already hit it with before. Why would you use more to hurt it even more? Maybe mutate even the creatures even farther. You want to really mutate Scorch Beast Queen, for instance, to something even worse?
To be honest, the Brotherhood of Steel probably try to store away for no one else can use it.
Or use it
Probably
as a
that
threat.
would actually be very smart. Or hopefully dismantling it, like disabling it basically, so no one ever can use it.
That's true. There have been some cases they have used threats before in other Fallout games. Um,
Like for instance, if they were to go against the Institute.
yes, they're going
Because I
nuke
know
it
that's
with Liberty Prime and all that.
because I know that's one thing my faction would actually do is to go around fighting all the nukes that are nuclear missiles that are still functional and that are still around and dismantle them so they can never be used again and never be reassembled or anything. This is like I said, it would be incredibly stupid to fire those things again.
Okay, so far we cover location. You say you most likely have a scavenger type faction with mostly hidden areas and lots of patrols. Well, you also have the interest of trading. Well, Adam, being like a little nomad, moving to place, getting resources, also willing to trade while helping the people around the
Yes,
area.
helping people not just in the area. Like
Well, wherever
anybody
area
that
you're
wants
at
our help.
at the time.
Well, yeah, it's not just at the time. We'll still have people stationed in settlements, actually like living there and protecting it and helping it with whatever they can. Just the main hub is going to be.
Okay, and for me, I'm most likely trying to rebuild one of United States' popular cities.
which actually
In a way.
makes sense.
All right. So let's move into military now.
Okay.
Well, I wouldn't be much help in this area.
Yeah, you're living off the land, so I don't think you would have very.
Granted,
So
granted.
people that usually live off the land usually aren't very.
If anything, I would just have scavengers, and that would be an extended mine.
Well,
Something
technically,
extra. Go ahead.
technically, your watch is a form of military protection. You have to train
Yeah.
them to keep your eye open, how to handle weaponry. It doesn't have to be like a full-out military like the Brotherhood of Steel or say like the
But it'd be more like law enforcement then than military.
I
well,
I
that's
would
yeah.
probably say
The way that you're explaining it.
personally I would kind of feel like with you got with the way your faction would be Gabino, your guys would be more like scouts of if anything
Or
because they'd be
militia.
scouting out that too.
Like a Minutemen?
Yeah.
Yeah. They wouldn't be like super heavy in material, probably weaponry. I'm not sure about that, but super heavily in training and everything. But they are pretty good at scouting and protecting themselves still.
Personally, I can see your faction doing guerrilla warfare if needed. Be light and fast.
That actually is not a bad idea. With how small your faction is, you actually would be able to be very light and very fast. You can get in and out very quickly instead of like having a giant, massive army going.
So yeah, what do you think of that? Would that kind of suit your situation?
Yes, actually. What about yours, Adam?
Well, mine would be bigger, so
Yours-
mine wouldn't be more like yours. It would be more like an actual military type of faction, like similar to the Brotherhood still, but much nicer. You know, like we would help out people we can and take out any kind of hostiles that we come encounter with or that are coming towards us. You know, but we also, unlike the Brotherhood still, we accept all kinds of species, going from humans to super mutants to feral ghouls, not feral ghouls, ghouls. Sorry,
Yes,
the regular ghouls, not feral ghouls. We kill those because they're feral. So we accept everybody's because technically they're still humans. Just on the inside, they're still humans and all like us. And and even if they are mutated, they still deserve a chance to live, as long as they don't start trouble or go feral.
So basically, you accept anybody.
We accept anybody. Yes, that's
So
anybody that's willing to uh, accept accept peace. You know, not try to go in and cause a lot of trouble, anything like that.
so I have a question for you, Adam.
So
How do you prevent, say, a betrayal? How do you keep loyalty and how you keep the three different type of species, outwards ghouls, humans, and mutants for fighting one another because racism basically, or I guess speciesism. I don't know.
yeah, I know what you mean. I mean, in a way, it still would be kind of racism because it would be kind of like in a way, because it's just because they look different in a way, which is pretty much true. They just look different, but they're still the same as me and you. So, um,
I mean, there is benefits to having these different type of variety of different species in your faction. For
yes,
example, ghouls, I guess mutants too, are resistant to radiation, so therefore they be able to gather necessary materials in more radiated areas. That's what I'm guessing. Well, the super
yes,
mutants are more could be more useful in shock troops or something like that if you are willing to use
yeah,
them that
like
way.
super mutants. Well, the super mutants, they're bigger and a lot tougher than a normal person is. So they'd actually be very good for like a very heavy force, a tanky force, with like machine guns, rocket launchers, stuff like that.
Hmm.
Just in case we need like heavy artillery or something like that, they would be very good for that.
All right.
And the way and one of the ways I would do would like help them not to fight each other, basically, right? It's kind of like in a way trust exercises. show them that they can trust each other and whatnot, like stuff, you know.
So basically, you make your squads. You do like a mixture
Yes, I do a mixture of super mutants, ghouls, and regular people. So
unless
that
they're.
so, so go ahead.
I mean, sorry, I don't mean to keep interrupting you, but what happened? Say like you have to go to a place that humans can't go, but ghouls can. Um, how you keep the balance there?
Um, we keep the balance is that if only ghouls are able to go in there. First off, we try to we send forward first send in some ghouls to see if they can negotiate with them in a way, you know. If it's a negotiable thing. If it's more like of a high radiation type of thing, then we'll send ghouls in mostly. But we can also send some people in with like hazmat suits to help them out if they need it.
That's true.
But it's just not like. But we also would do stress exercises outside of like the group things. Show everybody's weaknesses and strengths. You know, show that you can rely on your friend, on your partner, and whatnot, on your comrade, because we're all in this together, basically. So
Now, for me personally, um, I might have some restrictions with say mutants.
like super
Granted,
mutants.
granted, I'm not gonna like totally deny them. There will be mutants allowed into my settlements, but I'm not gonna allow any type of mutant coming in. Ghouls, they are more trustworthy, but mutants, you have to make sure they don't as they say get hungry and start eating people.
That's true.
Now, if there is a way to we can to make sure they don't eat people or become violent. Granted, not all superheroes are dumb and idiots. There are some that are, like have human, like higher intelligence than the ones you usually see roaming the wastelands.
And
Those
even if
ones,
God, sorry.
those ones, I don't mind letting into my settlements. As a matter of fact, they can help me control the less intelligent ones. But I wouldn't allow like every type of mutant in. I guess I would do some form of test to make sure they, you know, are safe to let in. Because there are benefits to have super mutants part of your military force or your workforce because of their strength and their resistance to radiation.
Yes.
So,
And a thought I just had is that another thing that you can do is like if you do have some super mutants in your settlement or faction, right? And they're starting to become a little bit unruly. What's one thing with super mutants that all super mutants pretty much have in common is that they respect strength. So if you can show them that you got a lot of strength, they'll respect you and like listen to you basically. Especially if you show them that you're stronger than them, become the leader. You know.
so how do you do that without killing them or killing a specific one?
There's plenty of ways to show strength. It kind of mostly depends on this super mutant, I guess, or mutants, I should say, because each one's a little bit different. Some of them kind of like it doesn't have to be you in particular. It could be like another super mutant that you trust a lot, you know, to show them. Some of them like will consider you strong if you can basically beat them in like a fist fight or something like that, right? Some will consider strong if you show them that you have like like an iron will, basically, that you won't be turned away or anything like that, you know? So it just all depends on the super mostly. But there's plenty of ways you can do it without killing.
Okay, how about you, Gabino? If you will you allow mutants or ghouls into your factions, or will you be strictly human?
Probably strictly human.
Racist! I'm joking. Sorry.
Remember, Adam, keep the sarcasm on the download.
I know.
Okay.
There's too much. There's already because there would be way too much to work around. And again, having a small group of people and having it work around, too much can get out of hand too fast.
Okay. What happened?
And then that it'll just divide everyone on itself. So there's a lot. So there would be way too much to work go around through that.
Okay, what's your feelings about ghouls then? Not feral ghouls, but the regular ghouls.
That's just human. That would just be humanity again, really. I'm not sure how to explain that.
So that's basically mutated humans.
Yes.
Okay, I get where you're coming at. I do see the I do see your what you mean here. It'd be kind of hard to keep it on the download and keep it small and fast if you got a lumbering force of mutants coming behind you.
Yeah.
Well, humans and ghouls are more easy to move fast, more easy to reason with and stuff like that. And
Yeah,
like
super
you said,
mutants. They're strong, but they're not the quickest. To
and
be
like
honest.
you say you wanted to keep it small, basically a small faction.
Yeah.
Hmm.
All right, so next on the list in the military, what type of weapons will your military, or I guess in Gabriel's case, police force slash militia, be
Or keep it
specialized
safe
in?
too.
It'll be specialized in.
Um, Mine would be specialized in all kinds of different, from low end to high tech type of weapons like machine guns, pulse rifles, or anything like that. You know,
So
and
basically,
we
anything you
also
get your hands on.
kind of. It kind of depends on the weapon and the way. You know, but we can't go anything that's gonna cause any kind of radiation or really big damage to like any structures around us that we're trying to protect. But we would also try to figure out, try to make new type of weapons too that would be useful. You know,
Okay.
especially against like really big, dangerous creatures like a Death Claw or Scorch Beast Queen and stuff like that.
All right. How about you, Gabino?
Probably just hunting equipment.
So like bows and
Hunting rifles and
crossbows,
stuff like that.
or are you more like
Yeah, right.
rifles and stuff?
Hunting rifles, crossbows.
Like low-end revolvers or something like that. Basically, something
Yeah,
that's
exactly. Pretty much just those few categories. Nothing like actual big military.
Nothing like
Tours.
rifles, machine guns, and stuff like that.
maybe not.
Hmm.
Well, so here's another question for you, Gabino. Now, when you say like this rifles, do you mean like the ones made out of wooden pipe, or actual rifles you can find around the Pacific areas, or how about the
Well,
grind?
find those other. Well, you'd be able to find those other way.
Yeah,
True.
So pretty much, whatever you can find. And with the habit, and plus, and with that kind of area, I would have, there'd be a lot of opportunity to find a lot of hunting rifles or hunting equipment.
yeah, that probably
True.
would be.
True. So, how about explosives? Will you faction have any explosives, like say grenades or something like that, or would it be mostly just stealth and shoot from a distance? Which there's nothing wrong with that. I'm just curious. Gabino, you guys still there? Hello. All right, I'm going to pause it here.
We were talking last week. We were talking about was grenades for basically
Yeah,
and stuff like
there were some
so.
malfunctions. I had to pause it, but we're back on. All right, back to the question. Will your faction have grenades, Gabino?
No, I wouldn't really need. I wouldn't really have a need for more hunting kind of people.
Yeah, grenades would
Anything I
just
would need were like traps, and even then, wouldn't need like explosives.
yeah.
I would just be going overboard. I'm
You'd
not like
probably
a. I wouldn't be like a fully militarized group like Adams.
yeah. Grenades would just scare off a lot of your prey that if you are trying to hunt. So I would say you'd probably just be using more like bear traps and uh, nets and stuff like that.
Hmm.
For me, I'd be like fully militarized. Granted, finding high tech weapons like lasers and pulse rifles and stuff like that would be kind of too hard.
Which
So
you can actually turn my faction with because we find them and also we try to make do type of stuff too. So there's something we always could trade to you.
granted, that's true, but I mostly reserve them for the more higher ups of the ranks.
That's fine.
For the say the lower ranks, say the foot soldier and a couple of commands, I'll give it like a either like a assault rifle or some form of machine gun with say a pistol and basically I would have different type of military units. I will have recon. I will have foot soldiers, higher command, air, a form of an air force, basically.
Yep.
So I will need eventually, say, a factory to reproduce ammo, weaponries. Uh, Also, this might actually make it difficult to achieve this with a lack of food. So I really would need you to find a way to absorb the settlements into my own faction, or find a way to get a good enough trade to make sure my force gets fed. Granted, it's not going to be as big, say, as the New Cal Republic or say the Brotherhood of Steel, because that'd be really hard to do with a lack
Yeah.
of food. It'd be like
And
slightly bigger than the factions of the Minutemen. I guess a good way to put together would be like the outsiders from Fallout 3. Granted, the Brotherhood Outsiders is still the Brotherhood, but it's a smaller faction.
okay.
Granted, I would not be focused on finding technology. I'd be mostly using their type of military tactics. For weaponry, like I said, I probably use assault rifles, machine guns, and possibly snipers for my scouts or something like that.
And if you ever want to, if you ever need, if your faction would ever need it too, you can always trade out. My faction could always trade ammo to you if you need it. Because remember, mine's gonna be more. Mine is also gonna be like a full military thing, so it would be cranking out a lot of ammo for different all kinds of different weapons too.
Question is, what can I trade to you? I won't have no food. I mean, granted, only thing I
Also,
probably would have is clean water,
oh yeah, that's what I was gonna
because
say. That's one of the things that we can easily trade is nice clean water, for instance.
to be honest, I think your military would be more equipped than mine, because the way you're located and the fact that you'll have more materials to make, say, bullets or guns and stuff like that. Plus, you'd be a little more advanced.
Because we're also researching how to new new technology and stuff like that too. So
So, Gabino says he's mostly would have more hunting type weapons, crossbows, bow and arrows, rifles, small pistols, possibly bowie knives for hand-to-hand combat, or hatchets or something like that. Well,
Yep.
Adam, you would be more,
similar to the Brotherhood, still military faction, but nicer and trying to establish peace instead of dominance or everything.
yeah. So you probably
And
won't have like say like pipe weapons or anything like that. You'd be
yeah,
more efficient, like machine gun and higher type.
uh, assault rifles, pistols, snipers, plasma gun, not plasma. The what are they called again?
Laser,
Laser guns or something like that. You know what I mean?
yeah, laser rifles.
Laser rifles, the gamma weapons as well, and stuff like that. So yeah,
But technically, gamma produces radiation. So you sure you want that?
we use it more against stuff that needs it. Would be the idea.
Okay.
You know, like on stuff that doesn't, but regular bullets or lasers don't work too well on. You know,
All right.
and also we can always, and if anything, we can always use the technology to help make fuel for cars and stuff. You know, because since the ammo has radiation in them, so
So next is What type of armor, if any, your faction or your military slash police force will wear?
For mine, it kind of depends on the squad because since mine's military, it's gonna have different type of squads, like from like scouts to snipers to heavy infantry and stuff like that. So it
Now,
would depend
now,
really on that.
now I want to say this really quick.
So
Yes, the Brotherhood still mostly has a lot of power armor, but that's because they manufacture it. They don't find it. Well, they do find it, but they don't find like to make a whole military force out of it. So it's to say, in a realistic situation, power armor is a rare quantity. So you can't really have say your whole army wearing power armor. I'm just putting that out there now. I'm not
yeah,
saying that's going.
that's not the original idea to do power armor for everybody. Because it's because for one, my military wouldn't necessarily need it. Yes, it does a lot of protection for you, but one of the other things it does is it makes you incredibly strong as well. But that's where the super mutants basically come for the strength thing.
And plus, it's really hard to find fuel for the armor.
That too. If we do armor or anything like that, it would either for like a very special small squad, basically, that uh, need to go in and then take care of something or something like that, or more for the higher ups.
All right. How about you, Gabino? I imagine that maybe power armor is a no show for you since it slows you down.
And makes a lot of noise when you're too.
But what you think? Well, about what's your feelings about
It wouldn't be that easy to find either,
that?
but
True.
I would be able to manufacture. I would be able to manufacture and repair it
That's
That
true.
would definitely be good.
with factories.
I would probably actually be able to find him too, to be honest, with the whole digging thing too. I probably could find a good few of them being buried around every now and then.
What's your feeling about combat armor? This is a question for both of you.
I would definitely have combat for some dudes, and they
Or
would vary from being light, medium, and heavy, depending on
or will
depending.
you have your own form of armor, kind of like how the NCR has the desert type look, or Legion Caesar's Legion looks like Romans. We have like your
Well, my
own.
armor is gonna have its own kind of look to it, but it's still gonna be kind of like a lot of similar armor in like weight and resistance and stuff like that. But it's gonna have its own look to it to match my force, basically. You know?
Yeah, this kind of falls under appearance. Granted, this still works because what I'm curious about for armor, not only how it will protect your units or your settlements, but we put in factors like intimidating factor or strength factor or something like that. Kind of how the raider armor looks more intimidating when you fight against them or something, with horns and jagged metal pieces sticking out of it.
Personally, I probably wouldn't be going with too intimidating like that. It's because I will be trying to help other settlements and protect them. I want to protect them and establish peace and show that and make them feel safe. Now, if I can have a bunch of dudes sorry about the language, sit there and have armor that's literally scaring them.
Okay, so you'd be more of like the chivalrous knight type look.
Yes, kind of like that. Yes, something nicer looking, but still very, very, very dark. You know.
All right, Gabino, I kind of imagine yours mostly wearing brown or greenish colors for camouflage.
Pretty much, just hunter, just like hunter attire.
Would some of your dudes have like that? I know it's a military thing, but it would be great for like hunting as well. Kind of like that bodysuit thing where you have like a big bush, whatever they call that again.
That's called a ghillie suit.
Yeah,
It's camouflage. That is used for hunting or guerrilla warfare.
that's it. Okay. I was just wondering if you would be using that as well.
That would be something. Yeah,
Okay.
I believe it's also supposed to hide their scent from animals.
Really? Didn't know
I
that.
believe so. I'm not entirely sure.
Well, that'd be if that's the case, that'd be really useful against say like a death claw.
or
Oh yeah,
people hunting, or people trying to use hunting dogs.
Yeah.
definitely. If
Well,
they can
that's
find
another thing.
gas for that.
Animal companions, or we have like livestock, like say Brahmin, or as Camilo said, hunting dogs, or something like that.
I would probably could have some like dogs and whatnot to help with the military and whatnot, you know, like military type of dogs or animals. But I wouldn't necessarily have any like livestock since my main base would be moving around a lot.
What about your small settlements that be staying put?
Well, I wouldn't necessarily have any personal small settlements. I might have a few, but a lot of settlements my people are in would be settlements like maybe Gabino's maybe, and like yours faster, like just sit there and help you fix stuff and protect you, but not there to run anything.
All right. How about you, Gabino? Will you have livestock or something like that?
Yes, since I'd be running kind of a farming area.
That does make sense, and you would also be hunting and getting a lot of food from that too.
Okay. So not only will you have farming, you also have hunting. So
You know,
technically, you'd be a good place to trade for food.
yes, he would.
And if I would, and don't forget if I'd utilize factories and energy sources to live off the land, that would also be giving me clean water and energy and not affecting my ecosystem. So I wouldn't be able to scare off much of my wildlife that I would probably use for hunting.
Yeah, and I can easily like trade you some ammo for some of your like arrows and rifle bullets for some food and stuff like that if you need it. And maybe trade you some like materials to fix the guns up or fix up your houses or cars or anything like that as well.
For me personally, back to the military.
But
Um, I imagine myself wearing my unit's kind of wearing a bluish coat with, say, basically I have the appearance of the Minutemen, basically, but not so much like them, but more type of armor. Imagine, like, say, combat armor underneath, like, say, a trench coat and stuff like that.
so like a light thin combat armor basically,
Well, I
or
want to say
you go with something like a little bit thicker.
I'll go with something a little more thicker since I'm pretty much dealing with multiple threats coming at me at once.
Okay.
But but I probably won't go like well. There is such thing as light combat armor, so yeah, I guess I would
Yeah.
use a lighter form of combat armor 'cause I do need to move fast to
It's
get.
yeah, like a combat armor will still help you move fast and still protect you. It's just not. It just can't take as much as like say heavy can, because it's heavy does slow you down only because it's heavier and thicker.
Like I said, I'm trying to base my military off of both the New California Republic and the Minutemen.
Yeah,
So basically, having light armor.
would be very helpful for you because you would be able to move
I
around
mean,
very fast.
I could have a light version of combat armor, or in the case of the NCR Kevlar, which is also a form of light bulletproof armor.
Yeah,
Granted, I wouldn't say I'll have multiple vehicles, maybe some vertibirds to mostly transport. I would not try to focus on car wise because it'd be too much time and too much resources. I'd be mostly focusing on infrastructure, on how to repair certain buildings and clear them out from hostiles. My armor colors be mostly, say, well, maybe I would not do it blue. Blue's too flashy. I probably do like beigeish colors or brown or colors that can help me camouflage in a ruined situation. Maybe some grays or dark greens.
yeah, I can understand that.
Because if I have like flashy colors, that's like saying, "I'm over here, take a shot at me," type of idea ordeal.
Yeah.
Okay, what about robots?
Like what about them? Would we have them or anything?
We
But
have
that would
a
be running my factory and my energy resources.
Yeah, that
that.
would be very useful.
Wait, repeat that, Gabriel. Sorry.
That would be who. That would be the people running my factory energy resources because it'd be less. It'd be safe. It'd be a safer way for
So
people for my people.
so basically, have a bunch of Mr. Hannies and stuff like that.
Yep.
Okay, how about military wise? So we have like the Sentry Bot or the Assault Soltron, stuff like that.
Or the what
Maybe
was
a
the
soul
three-wheeled one called again?
The what? The 3-wheel one?
Yes, I
That's
think
sentry
the
bots.
three-wheeled guy.
Sentry Bot.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Never mind.
Granted, that could be
Yeah.
kind. I can see Gabino no, sorry, Adam having the Sentry Bot for the more military forces, but for you, Gabino, it kind of draw too much attention. Maybe with the Saltron, since he got a capability to turn invisible, it would be more useful.
And then
Plus,
start creeping.
they can be used as camouflage. Plus, they can use their own kind of camouflage. There are some that are fitted out with stuff like that,
Yeah.
and with having an audio recording, they could imitate what noises to trigger off other wildlife and keep areas safe.
That would work actually very well. And it is still pretty deadly for. But that's still one of the more deadly robots too. So
For me personally, I might have a sentry or two, or well, a small part of my faction. My faction's military will be robotic, but for say Mr. Handy's to help me rebuild settlements, I basically use robots mostly for building up settlements and maintaining them more than straight up military. Because
okay.
in Fallout New Vegas and even some cases in Fallout 4, it kind of having a bunch of robots kind of lowers the welfare of the people. So therefore, to keep the morale going or the welfare of or the happiness of the people, I wouldn't have too many robots, just enough to keep things going smooth and maybe boost up my defense. Plus, if you have too many robots, it also takes a lot of resources to keep them repair and function correctly.
Which my infection wouldn't have too much trouble with since I mine a lot of that resources out of the ground. But I still want to have a shit ton of robots though.
Okay, so how about tactics? You pretty much say you'd be usually guerrilla warfare and possibly scouting and all that stuff.
For mine, I would have to kind of say it kind of depends on the whole situation. But most of the time, if I need to, it'd be more of like a little bit of more of a normal army force type of thing. You know, saying in a bunch of shoulders to resolve the issue. Like either kill something, depending on what it is, capture it if need be, or something like that. Or, but if it's a more of like a hostage situation, I would send more of a small team in, basically.
So like a recon team type of stuff like
Yes.
that.
Recon team, if they're able to get the personnel without too much of an issue, then yes. But if they're or if not, then just reconning and giving me the information we need to be able to help the person. So it all depends on the situation, but most of the time it would be more of a normal military force type thing. So
So Cabino, will you add on to it, or will we just specifically be guerrilla warfare?
Uh Probably a mix, really.
So
like what
I
else?
basically,
mean,
it depends on the situation, right?
yeah.
Okay.
Because the reason why I asked this, depending on the not civilization, well, yeah, civilization, but the settlement or the faction, we'll also see how they use for tactics for the military. For example, Sieger's Legion are mostly rush in and start chopping away, basically, and brute force. While say the Minutemen, since they have smaller military force, They're more of make a defensive stand before doing the final push type ordeal. I'm just curious what you guys' opinions on. For um, for me personally, I probably also have a mixture. Depends on the situation. For larger groups, I'd probably be more shoot from the distance or have a defensive position instead of just going on guns blazing.
So like the men, a
Yeah,
little bit at first.
but if it's like a smaller, like say a smaller raider faction, I might send some heavy troops in to clear them out with
Okay.
some maybe Australian support.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea.
Um, so
It's always good.
you guys got
Yeah,
a choice. We can either talk about how advanced our settlements would be, or what type of politics we used in our settlements.
either one.
Being you're the deciding factor.
So how would the politics work of Adams then? This just sounds like a straight up military force.
Kind of, yeah.
Well,
I
there's
want to
such
have
thing as military
politics.
politics, like saying curfew and you have old young men and women are drafted into the military to protect Pacific border lines. Granted, I can't really see you can keep how you can be a military faction but also be there for the people. 'Cause to be honest, kind of hard. That's kind of I don't know. Maybe you can explain
I
better.
understand that would be kind of a hard thing to do, but that's why I would have a lot of people to make it a little bit easier. But my faction would work on trying to figure out a way to do that, because all my faction would want is to establish peace and for everybody, make everybody feel like they're safe to live out their lives and have fun and stuff like that, you know? Instead of being in fear of Scorched Beast or Raiders or Death Claws or Radiation, the Atom People, whatever they call them again, I forget, or anything like that, you know?
Cult of Adam.
Yes. Yep.
Um. Okay. How will you balance, say, trade or horticulture industry? Will you like have specific people that work in those specific areas, or will you have like one person that is in charge of everything?
I want to have one person in charge of everything because that's going to be a lot of stress on that person. I would have multiple people in charge of different type of things, so to make it a lot easier, kind of like splitting the workforce.
Okay.
Because it would be a lot easier and it'd be a lot less stressful for people instead of having it all just one person.
So what I'm getting out of this is that you have different type of sections that have a specific person working on it, but pretty much
Or
answers to you.
specific people, depending on it, but yes.
Okay.
Or I may not do like answers just to me. I may have like a little like a few extra people that are about the same position me as I am. So like a
I
small
can.
council to come to agreement of stuff.
Yeah,
So that
cancel.
way it's more so that way it has more minds to think on certain issues and whatnot. You know. So that way it's more points of views.
All right. Um. Now, will you have like a hierarchy, or will everybody be like have same rights and be trialed the same way if rules are broken?
Everybody would be treated trial the same way basically, and it would all depend on it would also all depend on like the exactly what they. But that would be more for just my faction, my people, and my faction. I ain't gonna do that with anybody else's settlement. They trial however they see fit. I'm just there to help them and protect them.
So, how do you prevent, say, greed or have one individual that had too much power?
Um, what if it in my area? It's not everybody's gonna have. Yeah, not everybody's gonna have the same amount of power, but there's not always gonna be a person higher than the other. Like for instance, even I'm not gonna be the most highest person up. yes, I'm higher than everybody else, but I'm still up at the same level as my everybody else that would be my little council.
So
Adam's
sorry, go ahead.
Adam's politician status makes me think of Lord of the Flies.
Lord of the Fries, Flies.
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 Okay.
Yeah, because that's exactly what the kids did in that movie. But remember how that ended out happening.
Yeah, I do. I think I know what you're talking about. I'm not 100% sure, but
Imagine, you know what I'm talking about, right?
I haven't seen Lord of the Flies, but I have heard of it, so I think I know what you're talking about.
Basically, it did start out how Adam said, but then it turned into they started killing off each other and all started turning against one another.
I can
So
understand that. But the council will only be made of people I trust fully, and I know
That's how it started. It was supposed to be the top ones that were trusted, and then those ones turned at each other, and then that's how it kind of divided out.
Yeah, but you also gotta remember that was a
It
movie.
broke down very easily and very fast.
I can understand that, but you gotta remember that was a movie, and that was also probably for entertainment.
I think it also depends on the environment this place is built up in. If it has like a strong defense and people are happy, there'd be less chance of betrayal and stuff like that. But if you put
Yeah,
on too much pressure, which, to be honest, Adam, that might happen to you if you help everybody around you. Basically, um, you have a good idea. Don't get me wrong, that still can work. But when it comes to settlements around you, you might have to choose all of them to which ones to support before, because that's what happened to the Minutemen. They claim to help everybody and stretch them out too thin. Therefore, Therefore, the stress got to everybody, and then started the infighting.
yeah,
Before,
I can understand that, and in those kind of situations, I would choose like the settlements that need more of the help than the ones that don't. Like for instance, um, like yours and Gabino's factions, you already have a lot of stuff planned out, and you have your own force and stuff like that. So if you need me, I'll come help you, but I may not have my dudes always there and everything. Probably just there long enough for you to get going. You know?
okay, so in a way, you still have a way to balance it,
Yes.
but it might still be hard to, prevent corruption. So you might,
That's no matter what. That's always gonna be hard to prevent. But I will do the. But personally, I would do the best as I can to prevent that. But there's no guarantee. There's never guarantee. There's no guarantee ever that you can completely stop corruption. So
so far, Gabino, not Gabino, Adam chooses a council for a form of government while trying to find ways to balance making tough decisions. How about you, Gabino? How will you govern your faction? You still there?
Yeah, I'm just thinking.
Oh, okay.
Uh, yeah. Um, Go back to me.
Back to, okay. For me personally, um, I guess I'd be more like a democratic type of faction.
okay.
Well, it's like a mixture of a democratic with a type of council, basically a government type of thing. Granted, I won't be. I'll try very hard to make it not as corrupt as most governments nowadays. I'll give my citizens the right to maybe vote for a new leader every few years or something like that. While
Oh,
having,
so like presidency type of thing, like we do now.
yeah, while having the rights to like medical care, um, um, certain type of credit or something like that.
So like a currency, basically.
Yeah, currency. But I will also have taxes going to make sure that we keep everything, keep on, keep like the
So
military strong and keep the building of the state, not the state, but of the settlement.
So
Eventually,
basically, you would kind of do something that we have now with the presidency. Everybody gets money if they work, and have a tax thing and stuff like that, right?
Yes. Unfortunately, this might lead to some problems. Like, for example, the settlements I would like to have under my control for, say, for food or for for a military standpoint for stuff like that. I might need to figure a way to convince them to join me. So therefore, I need these type of advantages, perks to convince them to join me. Like, if you help us keep our civilization going, we'll send troops to protect you on the roads. We'll get you trade. We get you clean water, food. We'll pay you for your hard work. But a small portion of your crops has to go towards the cause, and you will have to pay taxes. Granted,
Okay.
I can see how that can cause trouble, but I have to see, does the pros outweigh the cons or vice versa?
And if you also like make a speech out of it and you make it like a the speech just right, in a way, you know what I mean? Is
To
that
inspire?
yes, if you inspire them right, it could turn out into like a very nice thing instead of saying like just but you would have to pay taxes to us and stuff like that. Instead of just saying that, you could say like put pros and cons together. Like for instance, if you say, um, you would say we will pay you, but a small portion of your pay would have to go back. Would have to go would be you would still have to pay some taxes to rebuild stuff, get stuff going, get food, water for you, to help the military force and stuff like that. Get the stuff you need to protect and feed you.
So basically, we need your support, but yet we're willing to help you in return.
Yeah, it's like saying if you support me or us, we will support you in a way.
And I can see, I can have an idea for the more bigger settlements I'm trying to get under my control. I can induce them to the council to be a council member.
Oh yeah,
Therefore, that might,
that's actually yeah, that's not a bad idea. Like have them like vote for like a person from their settlement to be a council member. You know.
yeah.
You know, this makes me think of. You know, what that makes me think of
What?
Jar Jar,
Jar Jar.
because
Seriously?
that's a Jar
This,
Jar was a politician and elected Palpatine to become Supreme Chancellor, and then he became the Emperor when he turned their form of government into a dictatorship.
So
granted, I
you're more
won't do
talking about
that,
Jar
but
Jar.
That's basically what happened.
Although I never could see Jar Jar to be honest.
anyways, I might slightly turn into a dictatorship to maybe get certain things done, but I'll try to keep the balance as the council.
Yeah, as long as it's perfectly fine to be a dictatorship as long as you're not like a dictatorship like the Brotherhood Steel, for instance, forcing your will, but you let the people choose if they want it or not.
Yeah,
Because if you give the person a choice, so always a person a choice, it's always good. They'll probably end up liking it better for it too, and maybe actually even take your offer.
all right, Gabil, we're back to you now.
He's still thinking.
No, not really. I mean,
Really?
I don't think I would really have much of a government.
Yeah, your place would be
It
pretty
would just
small.
be a collective of people, like in The Walking Dead.
Okay,
That basically would be it.
Well, would you be the leader of everybody then, basically?
But I would be like the Rick.
so
Yeah.
basically, be like a tribal type
Yeah.
relationship.
So would you be like the
Yeah,
chief, basically?
just built on trust, really.
Yeah,
Yeah, that works.
That's kind of what it is.
Hey, it works. I mean, with your small group, it wouldn't be that hard, to be honest.
to be honest, Adam, I think all three of us, Gabil might be one of the most factions that are easier to maintain.
Well, yeah, it's because it's small. The bigger the
It's
faction is, the harder it is because you got so many people you gotta work with.
and you have so much more that can go wrong.
That too. And you're gonna have so many more people that decide to go corrupt, basically.
I think on the size scale, it'll
And
go.
have a Jar Jar situation on top of that.
I think for the size scale for our factions, to largest to smallest, I think it go you, Adam, me, then Gabino. So like I said before, my faction won't be as big unless I keep on,
Building.
adding more settlements into it. But at the beginning, it'll be small, big enough to start making a footnote or getting the ball rolling. But your faction would be probably the biggest of all both of us.
Well, that would make sense. And the reason is because it's dead. Try to make peace with a big faction. It would be a little bit easier to make peace and fight off like feral ghouls and scorched beast and the scorched queen and try to kill him and stuff like that. So, and you need a big force, especially for the scorched, because they're a big force as well. And they can affect you too, which is kind of an issue as well, and make the force even bigger.
All right, so next we had how advanced is a civilization? Like, are like technological events, have machinery, laser weapons, shit like that? Are we able to like repair vehicles and have a stable transport system, stuff like that? Or are we still like using what we find and stuff like that? I know I said that a lot, but yeah.
I don't know. Well, mine would be advanced to be able to fix cars and stuff like that. Mainly just because we are also researching to make new type of technology to help the planet and everybody, and also stop like scorched and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So mine would be advanced.
So do you say like a Brotherhood events or a Enclave events?
Um.
Brotherhood Advanced.
Well, I don't know if I would be Brotherhood advanced or necessarily Enclave advanced. I might be like similar to the Enclave. I don't know if I would be as advanced as them yet. I'm not sure.
Because the
I can't live
Enclave was the only
amongst
ones that
that.
can rival the Brotherhood when it comes to advanced technology.
Yeah,
Because
that's true.
the Enclave was originally the basically the Enclave is the remnants of the United States government.
I would probably say I would probably in that case I would probably say I would probably be about as advanced as them, and not because I know how to fix vehicles, but cars, the giant drill that we're on, stuff like that, and help build stuff. And we're also researching new technology and stuff like that to make for either weapons or to help protect settlements.
So I have a feeling you'd be probably more interested into like say science facility can't say the word areas,
Facility.
yeah, facilities or
Okay.
or abandoned military checkpoints or bunkers.
Or outposts.
Yeah,
Yeah. I would probably be interested in those. I'd also probably be a little bit interested in the area like
Any
abandoned vaults
vaults.
as well.
yeah, and the vaults too.
Because I would always be interested in those to figure out, because each vault has different things. There is different, so it's different stuff in it. And some of the vaults can actually have very useful stuff that my faction could use.
Or you find the vault that had that one crazy guy populated with nothing but sock puppets.
Okay.
That's actually a thing.
Yeah, it is. As a matter of
I
fact,
know.
he got
In
out and
Fallout
he killed
3, I
it.
believe.
Yeah, Fallout 3, I think. Basically, he got out and he ended up killing a whole bunch of raiders, and he didn't know he was doing it.
Yeah, the Raiders were actually scared of him because he was bat crap crazy. Like, he was completely insane. Because didn't they mention that some of his puppets were made out of human flesh?
Probably. I think,
And he
yeah.
thought they were just
So
normal puppets?
I think so.
Because there was a recording tape with it that explained him, but in the Fallout 3, but I can't remember what it said on it. Like, the guy had some very serious psychological issues.
I mean, wouldn't you, with being alone for so long in a vault? Stuck in a vault?
Firstly, I think I'd be more modern advance enough to make
Okay.
enough to pair machinery and keep the gears of civilization going, but not to the point I make like scientific weapons
Breakthroughs.
and s- spaceships or something like that.
I wouldn't necessarily make spaceships. To be honest. I would be more focused trying to on the Earth that we messed up and trying to fix it a bit. So,
I'm just using it as an example.
oh no, I'm just saying it's all. I'm just saying it's all. I wouldn't probably worry about space anytime soon.
Does anybody know the name of that faction from Nuka World DLC that they went onto that ride that cut off their heads because they thought it would take them to their space or something?
I actually haven't played the Nuka DLC, so I can't tell you on that.
Can't remember.
Damn, it's been a long time. You're missing out, Adam.
I know.
Anyways,
I gotta play it.
how about you, Cabino?
About what?
How advanced would your place would be? Your settlements would be?
How advanced would my settlements be?
Yeah, obviously you're advanced enough to repair factories and stuff like that, but
And I would have just natural energies sources.
Be right back.
so
So I would have energy. So I would have energy and means of manufacturing and possibly repairing anything.
so basically,
But then also I wouldn't have too much of advancements because I'm living off an area of land.
all right. So
It'd be like a
basic.
mix, really. It'd be like a mix of a modern and a just scraping by.
So nowadays, just kidding.
Yeah.
Well, not really. Not really kidding. Anyways, I guess I'd be at the point of industry while having a source of capability to make energy sources. Not so much, say, like nuclear fission, but maybe a step lower, like diesel or something like that. I don't know.
Personally, I wouldn't say go with diesel would be a bad idea because it would still mess up the planet as well. But it's up to you what you
But
fuel.
you get what you have. So if
I
that's
know, I know. You use what you got, but everything.
And all that's that can only last for so long too.
true.
That
So I might have to advance to say fusion power or a
actually, if you go with like a modern type of thing, you can always go with like the type of power that is more modern. Like, say if you do cars, electric car, because you do have those.
oh wait, what about say a water turbine or something like that we can place a couple underneath the city. Therefore, it can also bring water in from the ocean to be filtered, but also give us power. Will that work?
I think that would work. I can't say how much one of those put out in power, so you may have need a good few of them, but at least it benefit either way.
So you'd become Atlantis.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, minus the giant robot and stuff like that. But yeah, okay. Um, both you and Adam said you're willing to repair vehicles for transport for trade and stuff like that. I might jump into that with cars. I know I'll definitely have air transportation like vertebrates, possibly airplanes in general, because they're easy to maintain than a regular fusion car or say a tank.
Yeah.
Um, so, what type of advancements you use for horticulture? Will you like do it by hand or by say animal, or we have like say tractors or something? Like find a way to repair them
Well,
By
I would.
hand.
by hand.
Yeah.
So I'm getting a mixture of both uh, advanced and more, say, not modern, old time type of system you have there for your settlement. You both have factories, but yet you're willing to get down and dirty also.
which is actually not a bad idea.
And since you have a small settlement, it still works with food upkeep. For me, I'd probably find a way to have more electrical machinery to help me grow my crops. Since I will have such a thriving settlement, I need to have a good way to get food fast. Besides for trade, and then
And since
since you're on the move, I kind of vision you having more of a greenhouse type situation built onto your drill.
yeah, and since we wouldn't have much use for like using big machinery and anything like that, we could still fix them, but we could fix them and like give them to you basically, since you would need the stuff more. Yeah.
But also, Boston and Alabama, it's quite a distance away. So how will we establish trade? I mean, it's not saying it's not impossible, but it'd be extremely hard.
Trade would be and so like I would end up being more by you, because I probably would pass by you a few times to check up on you to see how you're doing and everything like that.
That's
Um,
true.
it would be more like with like a plane type of thing, you know. It's like maybe like I wouldn't necessarily. I don't think maybe a voter bird. I'm not sure about that,
Or
but I would probably
Zeppelin.
maybe
Or a
actually
zipline.
that's not. Yeah, I would actually probably use like drones, actually those big drones, you know, that transport those boxes of
Oh
supplies.
yeah, I forgot that's
I
in
would use those actually.
Fall
I forgot about. I
'76.
just remembered about that because I could easily get. I could my faction would be advanced enough to be able to get those fixed and programmed and be able to do the stuff like that. Transport you to stuff and then transport the stuff from you back to me.
That's a thing?
Yeah, it
Yeah,
is.
you
It's a
seem actually a good lot in Fallout 76. They're like these big. They're kind of like giant. What are they called again?
drones.
Well, yeah,
Are,
giant drones.
are you talking about the vertebrates?
I was talking about the actual drones,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
ones that the
drones.
birds like escorting, you know. So
So
they're
that
really big, and they always have like this. They're always hanging onto like, this like crate thing, and and since they're robot and AI, you don't really need anybody to pilot it necessarily.
so to be honest, Adam, you might need to establish, say, like a control towers on the pathway to my place to make sure you don't lose signal on them and make sure they keep on field.
So yeah, the signal wouldn't be a super big issue for. To be honest, is because for one, I can easily do a signal type of thing on my thing because on my main base because you also got to remember that thing is very tall. Which and it's being so tall, I can easily put the signal thing on top and it still have actually a pretty decent signal.
Okay.
Because it's not like I'm gonna be like on the other side of the planet or anything like that.
I'm
Okay.
Because the
sorry, I
thing,
don't mean to just bring this up, but the drone system just makes me think of Amazon, and that just makes me think of all the maintenance that he'd have to put into it, and all the people that he would need to run it.
I would also have robots, so
Still, as a lot.
So there'd be a
I know
lot
it's a lot of
to.
I know it's a lot of maintenance, but it's not like any more maintenance than I already have to do on my main base to keep it running and going, you know, and stuff like that.
So it's a
Or on
good
the
thing.
vertebrates or on the other robots, so it's not like it wouldn't be that big of a deal, really.
So my main concern for you, Adam, where you gonna find all this fuel or power to keep these machines keep on going? Yeah,
Now you're going to make sure all the signal can be stable, since you're supposed to be nomadic and you're constantly moving.
yeah, that too.
Setting up a network in an apocalyptic world would be very hard.
Yeah, but you also got to remember, I will end up having to make a few settlements around that are set based, you know, and I can easily use, and I also can easily use those around to help bounce the signal around if I need it.
So technically, you will not be humanic, but more of a caravan type settlement, because they do
Like
move
the
around.
Tuscan Raiders.
Yeah, they do move around a lot too, but they also got certain parts of settlements where they can station.
Ooh.
Basically, for example, say the fudge what they're called. I don't remember their name, but there's a faction in Fallout New Vegas. They're basically a caravan faction.
Oh, dang.
I
I know what you're talking about too. I can't remember. It's been a while since I played in the best Fallout game ever.
Yeah,
yeah, Fallout New Vegas was fun.
but basically they have different areas where they can their employees can rest up and continue moving on.
Yeah,
Granted, you can have something like that, but instead of employees resting up, it's like a fuel station.
fuel station and like a little bit of an outpost as well. But yeah.
So
Also, and they would also help with the signal thing to be able to get signals around.
so basically, your faction is a council caravan type faction.
Yeah, it's a mixture of a lot of stuff to be honest, but that's what makes it work. It actually what makes it the faction actually functional. So to a point at least.
I can also see you being a really great business men and women.
Like having businessmen and women in my faction, is that what you mean?
Yeah, you're good for business,
Yes.
keeping things nice and smooth. While not Adam, Gabino, kind of sounds like he is a good for resources, for trade and stuff like that. While mine's more of a government type faction, militar,
Yeah.
militarized a little bit.
Well, you gotta have some type of security.
Um, okay. So, out of curiosity, which factions that do exist might be more of a more problematic for you guys?
Raiders.
Well, yeah, Raiders for everybody.
Well, definitely Raiders, but one
I mean
that might
me
be
specifically because of how my setup is.
Yeah, I can see it.
two that I can think of right off the bat that would probably be a bit of an issue with mine is of course the for one Descendants of Adams, but that's I kind of feel like that's be a bit of an issue for anybody really. But another one would probably be the Brotherhood of Steel, is because they're not a big fan of mutants, and I'm loading mutants into my faction and stuff like that.
Not to mention that you'd be also taking their technology away, so therefore they think you as a rival or for a form of competition for resources of high tech.
That too, and I'm not like. Another thing is I also help settlements and security and stuff like that.
They might think
And
you as the institute minus the synths.
yeah, kind of like that. It would probably try to stop me if they.
Did you say minus the simps?
Synths.
Oh,
Which in that kind of case, I would also probably need to try to figure out like a countermeasure against their Sentinel Prime.
True.
It's something I just thought of. If I'm gonna have like a, it's because if they consider me like kind of like as a threat, if they consider me a big enough threat, they're gonna try setting their Sentinel Prime out.
Granted, that requires moving him a vast distance if you start in Appalachia. Granted, when it comes to Boston, that'd be more of a threat.
Yes.
Brotherhood still has a small appearance in Appalachia, not much to be a threat, but the one in Boston is more of a threat because, for one, Liberty Prime, two, they have a good air force.
Yeah. That's why I would have to figure out like try to figure out a way to counter their Liberty Prime if I need to. Either that or make like some kind of Liberty Prime of my own, in a way.
For me, I would try to make peace with the Brotherhood of Steel and the Minutemen, but my main concern is not just Raiders, but also the Gunners.
Yeah.
totally forgot about the Gunners.
Yeah.
They're actually, they're literally a militarized Raider faction.
Yeah, that would be fun. They probably wouldn't accept peace, a little similar to like it would be hard to do peace with the Brotherhood still, especially with me. I don't think that even if I try to make peace with them, it'd be very very hard for me to make peace with the Brotherhood still. So that might not be an option for me. Minutemen would be easy to make peace with because they're a nice faction.
Well, to be honest, absorb the Minutemen into my own faction.
If they would want to be Thor,
Well,
but
they
that's
most
still unfortunate.
I kind of think they would because that means they have more resources to their name, and more capability to help the settlements around.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying if they want to, but there's no guarantees they're going to. But that's why I said that still wouldn't be really hard. It's still a good chance you would get them.
Now, if they deny me a couple of times, then yeah, I'm not going to force them, but
Yeah,
I
which is
will
good.
figure a way to convince them. Now, when it comes to the railroad, that's easy. Just tell them I'll help them transfer whatever Sims and keep their operations undercover. I probably
Yeah, to
use
help
That
the
that
synths.
does help,
yeah.
but you also got to remember that the railroad is against the Brotherhood of Steel. So if you try to be, if you end up doing manage to get the Brotherhood of Steel into your faction as well, Ben, that could go a little sour. Could be a little
Well,
sour
that's the
towards the
thing.
railroad.
That's the thing. The Brotherhood of Steel will not be part of my faction because
Ah,
they uh they are so what's the word? Not homophobic. They're basically huge ass
racist.
outsiders.
Purists.
There you go.
Purists, yeah, purists. They will not. They rather they might have an alliance with them would be hard enough as is. Trying to convince
Because
them
they're
to join
assholes.
me would be pretty much impossible.
Yeah, it would be about as. But although you would have an easier time being alliance with them than I could. Camino could probably get alliance with them
Now,
pretty easily.
if I'm trained with you, that might actually make it harder to have an alliance. There might
Yes,
be a
that would make very
possibility if I cannot convince them to let me be neutral, they might see me as an enemy also.
possibility. They
To
are
be
that
honest,
way.
Brotherhood of Steel is more like a dictatorship than anything in almost every scenario.
Yeah, and with the Brotherhood
So that
still,
everything to them
it's
would be
either
bad.
it's either with them. It's either like you're against them or you're with them. That kind of thing.
The only times I think the Brotherhood of Steel is not a dictatorship is here in Fallout 3 or the recent update for Fallout 76, providing if you take the part of the head paladin wants to go.
Yeah,
So
that's
putting those two into our areas, how do you think that would work out?
Sorry, repeat that.
Putting the Brotherhood, putting the ways that you said the Brotherhood are good or bad, putting those into our factions, how do you think that would work out?
Well, they probably think you as a nomadic, but someone to be used.
yeah. They would
Cause
probably like have a alliance with you if anything. Since you don't really have any. For one, you don't have any mutants in your thing, and they wouldn't seize you. And you wouldn't be like high tech, so they won't necessarily seize a threat or anything like that. And you'd be small.
yeah, for Adam, they'll definitely see him as a threat. Cause not
Yes,
only
not only
that,
because of the
not
size of my army, but also the tech I would have.
yeah, not only that, he'll also have mutants, but yeah, they'll also detect.
That tech.
For me, it's a 50-50 chance either way. In
To
my
be
I'll
honest,
be right
I kind of
back. I
feel
gotta
like
go to the
having a
bathroom.
mutant in my faction would be the main thing that sets them off.
sorry, can you repeat that?
I'll be right back. I gotta go to the bathroom.
All
I
right.
just did that. Alright. But yeah, having mutants, my thing, would be the main thing that I believe would set them off. Not just being a big faction and having like rivaling them in tech, but mainly mutants, since they are so just, especially in Fallout 4, they just really seem like they hate mutants so much.
Well, they definitely hate mutants.
Yeah, they're like,
Basically, anything that reminds them of the abomination that the old world created, such as mutants, simps, intelligent death claws, stuff like that, they find as abomination and does not deserve to exist. Unless
yeah,
it's Lions Brotherhood Steel, or in this case, I haven't learned her name, but the recent paladin for the Brotherhood of Steel DLC for Fallout 76. Those
yeah. But you also got to
guys,
remember the Brotherhood from Fallout 76 is, I believe, Fallout 76 takes place before Fallout 4.
yes, it does take place before Fallout
So
4, but does that mean the idea still exists in a specific scenario? Yeah, you get what I'm trying to say.
scenario. I
Scenario.
can understand that, but I just think that from the Brotherhood Fallout 76, they're just not they have the same ideals and everything like that. It just doesn't evolve and get more. They don't get more aggressive about it until like Fallout 4, in a way. Like it evolves throughout time, gets more and more aggressive.
Well, technically, it starts out and follow New Vegas because that's where the Brotherhood of Steel, you know, starts in the first place.
Yeah, true.
And they became really homophobe or not homophobe. God, I don't know the fucking word. I'm probably using that for the wrong
I think I'm like a penal college.
purists. Let's just say purists for now on.
Actually, I think that was pretty close to what Gabino said. Either that or it is one of
That's
two.
why he said purist.
Okay, there you go then.
Then they started branching out, which brings the Fallout 3 uh, uh,
Into the picture.
Lion, Paladin Lion or not Paladin. I don't remember what they call the leaders. Leader Maxon, not Maxon. God damn it, Lions. They are mostly focused on helping the people. So is the Fallout from um, Alabama or Appalachia. Granted, if you take that way, if you take the way of as the other paladin, I forget his name, they're more
Aggressive.
aggressive and mostly there for the technology.
Yeah.
So the Fallout faction kind of not Fallout, goddammit. The Brotherhood faction kind of splits in two, different beliefs, which I'm surprised there hasn't been a civil war happening between them yet.
Yeah, I'm surprised on that too, but hey, somehow it works.
Now, when it comes to Lion's Brotherhood faction, after he died, uh, Maxon, the one from Fallout 4, he kind of took the. He has a little bit of combine of two of the ideas, but it's mostly lean onto the must preserve the technology. Therefore, he's mostly the one you have to worry about, and the ones from New Vegas, from causing you trouble.
Yeah. But you gotta always. I'm always gonna find trouble with the type of faction I basically would make. I would always end up finding trouble if it's not the Brotherhood of Steel. It's probably gonna be something else.
And who knows what type of other factions are in between the states of Boston and Alabama.
Yeah, they might nice. They might be even worse than Brotherhood of Steel, or they might be like the Minutemen, where they're nice. So.
We're gonna wait. I'm gonna wait to be able to come back to talk about the last topic.
That's fine.
Which is what type of logo we have and what would be the meaning behind it.
Hey, on the bright side, that gives me some time to think of the logo because I'm not 100% sure what kind of logo I would go with, or the means behind it.
Yeah.
I have a bit of an idea, but I feel like there's something else I can add to it, so.
You can also add the faction's name, but if you don't want to do that, we can do that another time.
Ooh, I just figured out what else I can add to it that actually would work.
What?
You'll find out once we talk about it.
Okay.
Because I just figured it out. I literally just thought of everything for it now. Because I was thinking about it while we were talking a little bit, trying to figure out the whole symbol thing. What would work for my faction, since it seems to be multiple type of things, But I just figured out actually something I actually add to it. The stuff I can add.
Okay, I'm back.
Welcome back.
Okay, Ben, we're on the last topic. It's what will your logo of your faction, basically your banner, will look like, and what's the meaning behind it?
If you have one, Gabino, or do you need to think about it?
What did you guys say?
We haven't started yet.
Yeah, we were waiting for you.
Oh, okay.
We need to wait a minute. I could go first.
Okay. I'll just eat my peeps.
Alright. Think about your thing, Ben, while I'm talking, by the way. So what mine would probably be is it would probably be in a circle for one. It would be like a, you know how like it has like sometimes you'll see a logo that has like two swords cross each other, right, or something like that.
Yeah.
It'd be something similar to that, except it wouldn't be two swords. It'd be like a gun and then like a pickaxe type of thing, The gun would represent my military force and everything. The pickaxe would represent the materials that I can mine and everything like that as well.
Basically your workforce.
Yes. And then right behind it, I forget what it's called, but it's like two different pieces of like a type of plant that are kind of curved in like a horseshoe shape with a bunch of leaves coming out the side, you know what I mean? You know what I'm talking about?
Kind of.
It's in the shape of a horseshoe, right? You know,
Okay.
it's like one. It's like a in the middle. It's thin with a bunch of different with a bunch of leaves coming out the side. It's like something you can also like wear on your head, basically, like back in like Roman time, maybe or something. You know,
You talked about the crown of thorns.
not necessarily the crown of thorns. It's
Oh,
not
the thing
the
that
crown of
Caesar
thorns.
wears.
Yeah, something like that, basically. It would basically represent peace.
I don't remember what they're called either, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I would have that as
What's
well
a
in the
crown?
banner to represent
A
that my
crown.
faction wants peace,
Yeah, what's it
wants
say?
to make peace between people.
What's it say? Leave a crown of leaves for your thing, Adam.
Yeah, that works. A crown of leaves to represent peace and everything like that, you know, because that's the main one of the main things my faction would strive for is make peace between in the world between settlements and make and make them feel safe and stuff like that, you know, and also between peace between the regular humans and the mutants.
Okay, what does the circle stand for?
I would make the circle kind of not necessarily like a actual circle, you know, in a way, but it'll still be a circle in a way. But it would be kind of like a high tech type of circle, you know, to represent the
How,
my
how advanced?
how advanced my faction is. Sorry, it took me a minute to think. So I would probably maybe I'm not sure exactly what it would be. Maybe like some type of machinery or maybe like electricity or in a way something like that.
Like maybe one of those electrical ball things.
Yeah, that would work.
Okay, so
So that way it represents everything that my faction is.
so how about colors?
Uh, I'm not gonna go with anything too bright, so I would probably make the main color maybe black and black. I think maybe black and silver might actually work. That way it's not too bright, but still nice looking in a way, you know.
Yeah, I can see the background being black and the pictures of being silver.
Yeah. That way it's nice looking and still looks good, but it's not too bright. It's not so like you said earlier, not sitting there say, "Hey, shoot me," you know.
Yeah. If you want to
And
go,
it's
I can
and
go
it's
next.
and it's still nice and peaceful looking, you know, too.
All right.
So, what were you saying about Camino? Sorry.
If you want to go, I can go next.
Actually, yeah, go on ahead because mine's a very simple design, so it's not gonna take me long.
Well, yeah, you don't have to think about
All
much.
right. So basically,
Because I don't have a lot of
my
brain to work with. I have to think a lot.
my banner colors, because I'm going to start with those first, would be just red and white.
You sure you want to go with red and white? That's kind of bright.
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
But for the logo itself, it has some form of kind of a paper. Kind of looks like the fuck, what's it called? Decorations of
Uh,
Independence type look to it,
oh, okay, yeah. I was trying to
but
think.
have a clenched fist.
Colonial.
What?
Sorry, I was trying to colonial. That's what he
Colonial,
was
yeah,
thinking of.
yeah, colonial
Oh,
type look, but with a clenched fist in front of it. The paper was standing for we were united, but we also have some form of government. While the clenched fist also represents our strength and military.
that works actually.
Also, to also show the red also shows that we, we're not something to mess with.
But the white shows that you are peaceful. If
Yes,
as long
basically.
as you're not. Okay. Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. What's yours, Camilo?
Basically, I wanted to be easy. For like a flag. If I were to have anything, it would be a flag. It would just be like a camouflage, something with a camouflage background, like foresty kind of a thing. Sorry, I thought I heard something. Foresty kind of thing, and if I were to have any significant kind of logo on it, it would probably have to be like something, uh, like a wrench and a shovel, doing the cross guard thing, maybe with maybe with something else on it.
So a little similar to mine, but with like different items.
Because I would have technology, and then I would have land. I would have the camouflage for the area I would be living in, plus the air, plus of what justifies a uniform.
Yeah, no would.
I like it,
Yeah.
See, mine's very simple and easy.
but it still shouts out your faction's um, identity.
Characteristics, yeah.
Yeah, that's
Okay,
kind of the point of the symbols, to be honest. So
last
that works. I like
question.
it. Good.
Last question, and in my opinion, it might be the hardest one.
What's that?
What will you guys be called?
Oh, I stuck a name, so that's gonna be impossible for me.
That's why I said it's going to be the hardest one. For me, it's kind of be like the Liberators or possibly the White Fist. Oh, actually, as I think of it now, that's probably not a good thing. No,
Yeah,
no,
yeah. There
No,
you
no,
go.
forget the White Fist. Forget the White Fist. I see.
This is a serious topic. I assure that you know that.
Yeah. I see the errors of that name.
Okay. Because if not, then we're gonna need to have a whole other discussion. As I choose like fruit punch peeps, and that would be very difficult to do.
So I need to think of a second
Oh,
name.
they're so good.
What about the Commonwealth Coalition?
That works, actually.
Or basically the CC?
Yeah, you could use CC for sword, but as long as you have something for know what those stand, the TCs would stand for.
The Commonwealth Coalition.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that would work.
Alright. Who wants to go next?
That's a very great name, Adam. I love it. It shows that you are very diverse and have multiple cultures and walks of life.
Hey, I can never make a name fucking like that. All right. This is the only thing I can think of right now for a name that may work for my place is like I don't know if it's necessarily it would be a good name because you gotta remember I suck. Guardian Force or something like that.
What about the Tech Guardians?
That would work. Because I know probably putting Guardian in it would be a good idea, is because like we protect people, so it would tell you that we're here to protect you. And the tech part actually wouldn't be a bad idea. It would tell people that we're high tech, so.
Or the TG.
Yeah, that's not bad saying short, TG.
How about you, Gabino? I can't tell if he's thinking or he got disconnected again.
Oh no, I'm thinking.
Okay.
Also trying to swallow a mouthful of peeps.
I want peeps.
Peeps were on sale.
I want peeps.
And I bought the root beer and fruit punch ones, and I'm down to my last of my fruit punch ones.
Oh damn.
Which I was trying to save for Apex, but then I got hungry and thought, you know what, peeps sound good. And now I regret my decisions.
Shove them through the mic, please. I want some peeps.
Okay. Some beautiful ASMR there. While I try to remember what I was thinking of. Okay, yeah, now I remember.
Sorry.
Sebastian, I know you're smiling. It's okay to laugh. This is your podcast, by the way.
It's okay to make a little fun.
I'm laughing. I'm laughing.
It's okay to have a little fun, but you don't have to be all strict.
No, I'm laughing. Don't worry. I have no problem with this. I'm talking about like dirty jokes, like shit like that.
Why did I make a dirty joke earlier?
Oh, okay. So anyway, for the faction name I'd probably have to go with would probably be like something very probably something like the clean slate. I don't know, or Yeah, because it's basically reforming a whole Basically, how my faction would be doing is just reforming the whole civilization
Ooh, how about this? The Clean Slate
from
Marauders.
scratch.
Yeah, how about
What?
this? The Clean Slate Marauders.
Yeah, something like that.
So I got the CC, Adam got the Tech Guardians, and you got the Clean Slate Marauders.
Basically, would be it.
Yep.
Well, we have reached the end of the podcast. If you guys like it, leave a like, maybe subscribed, all that fun stuff.
And hit that bell.
And hit that
Smack it
bell.
so hard it rings loud.
We might do some other podcasts for different other games, possibly some maybe anime or TV related topics. I am trying to get other people to join us. So yeah, if you're watching and listening, thank you very much and have a good night.
And don't forget to check out my channel.
Yeah, don't forget to check Adam's channel, which I
Tough
might
to gamer.
leave in the description.
Right. I thought you told me you were.